Hello there everybody, I am the CHALL and welcome to the DRFC Daily Report. It's Monday the 24th of April 2023. Another weekend has gone, another weekend with defeat. And it's definitely another week where we consider the future of so many of them players, and also the future has been pondered by the fan base about Danny Schofield as the manager. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'm not Schofield out, and the reason why, and I've stated that in the past, is that's not his squad he's working with. And at the end of the day, there's too many players there that are part of previous failed managerial reigns that I think need to be cleared out. Not everyone, but I think that some of them do need to go. And, you know, we know for a fact that Danny Schofield's going to be here as the manager, the head coach next summer. So Schofield's here next season. I think October, in my opinion, is a good time to analyse where we're at. But I think Schofield's right where he says judge me on next season, because this season was a complete write-off. As soon as we had that January window, this season was a complete write-off. So for me, next season is where I will judge Danny Schofield. People can call me a happy clapper, people can call me this, that and the other. I'm just being patient. I'm just being patient with the manager. I'm not going to, don't get me wrong, the run of games is inexcusable. If this was at the start of the season, he'd be sacked by now. If we'd had this season, and then if we repeated this run next season, at the start of the season, he'd have been sacked by now. I agree with that. But I want to see what happens in the summer first. I want to see the signings that we make. I want to see what we would bring in, and I want to see what happens. I'll believe the cash injection when I see it. I'll believe when I see it in terms of the summer window. If he's backed, he's got no excuse. If he isn't backed, what else can he do? So for me, Danny has to have the summer for me. To be honest with you, and this is something I was talking about with a few fans outside the ground, by the way. Under the current circumstances, with the supposed budget we were given, with it being so low, what experienced manager would come in and want to tarnish their reputation? This is not me saying that I don't think an experienced manager would come in. I know people saying, oh, get Grant McCann, get all this and that and the other. Who would come here and tarnish their reputation at a club that is so toxic right now? So that's my argument. But Schofield's going to be here next season anyway. We've got to have the summer, and then we judge him in October. I think October's a good time to judge him, in my opinion, because he'll have a summer window under his belt. But that's not the focus of today. That was just a little bit from the weekend. But today's focus is actually on the transfer window, and you see the thumbnail title. We need experience. We need more experience. That's where I'm coming from. I will hold my hands up and say, look, I originally thought we needed more development players because, well, I've got a list of all the players, teenagers, young adults / development players, and then you've got your experienced lads from like 24 years old onwards. And for me, I feel like we've got to get that experience through the door now. I'll hold my hands up and say I thought we needed a bit more development in there. And don't get me wrong, I think we do still need to bring in a couple of signings that are development long-term players to build that long-term core of the squad and to keep developing the box office attractions that are going to be sellable values, sellable assets and sellable value players long-term for Doncaster Rovers. But I think we just need to be looking for experience as the primary kind of target for the summer window. And I think Schofield's come out and said that in the past, that he needs more experience, that he wants more experience, wants to bring in or look to bring in more experience. So what I've done for this video is I've got all the players, and I've got like sort of where they rank in terms of teenagers, development players and experience. And of course the loanees, the out of contract ones, etc., they will be included. Charlie Lakin isn't included on this list because he's obviously out to the end of the season and he's back at Burton. So, but he will come under development because it's like 20 to 23. So, I would class Lakin as like development or just about to go into the experience with the 24. But let's go into this list then. So, teenagers, we've got Ben Nelson, we've got Bobby Faulkner, we've got Jack DeGrucci. I haven't got Ben Bottom on this list because he's third choice keeper. However, I don't feel like he's going to get game time. So with him being out of contract as well, I'm kind of 50-50 on what his situation is at the moment. So Bottom was not on this list either. But Nelson on loan, who's going back anyway. We've got Faulkner, we've got DeGrucci. So we've got two 18, 19-year-olds. Two of that kind of range. Obviously, you include Jack Gubbin in there as well, and you've got another one. But I'm questionable whether he's going to get a shot next season. I think he's only in there now because of the injury situation. But to be fair, he's been firing with the under-18s this season. So, would you give him a professional contract? Because I certainly would. But would you loan him out next season? I don't know. Development players aged between 20 and 23. You've got Maxwell, you've got Olowu, you've got Younger who's out of contract, Long, Barlow who's out of contract, Seaman out of contract, Miller on loan, Carl Hurst, and you've got Ravenhill out of contract as well. So you've got Todd Miller who's going back to Leicester, you've got Charlie Seaman who I don't know if he's signing the contract, Younger, I don't know if he's signing the contract either. Ravenhill, I'd like to give him a 12-month deal just to see how he does, but I've got a feeling he might end up leaving, but I don't know. So when you take the out of contract players, when you take away, if you take all three out of contract players, or four of them, including Barlow, I would sign Barlow to a 12-month deal. And this is something I wanted to say, by the way. I want to sign Barlow to a 12-month deal. I think he's been one of the ones out of contract that's been showing the most. So I would bring in Barlow on a 12-month contract with the option for an extra year or two, depending on how next season operates. But so maybe take Barlow out of that. So you get rid of Younger, you get rid of Seaman, you get rid of Ravenhill. Miller goes back to Leicester. You know, looking at that list, you've got 5 development players, which is again my concern as to why we need a couple more. But then you go into experience. Mitchell out of contract. Brown goes back to Blackburn. Anderson, we're here next season. Williams out of contract, gone. Molyneux here next season. Miller, Georgie Miller. Rowe, Taylor, who's here for at least an extra year, but I don't know if he's going to move on or not. Jones out of contract, probably going to go. Biggins here next season. Agard out of contract, probably going to go. Westbrook out of contract, we don't know if he's going to go or not. Speaking to him yesterday, it seems like he does want to stay. So, you know, I would give, again, Westbrook a 12-18 month deal just to see how he does next season going forward. Lavery next season and Close next season. So Lavery, Close, Biggins, maybe include Westbrook on there as well. Taylor, Rowe, Miller, Molyneux and Anderson. You've got 9 experienced players there. Now, that's not to say that all of them are the vast experience. I think if we're talking the older experienced players rather than the 24, 25, 26-year-olds, Mitchell, who's 28, Anderson, 29, Rowe, who's in his 30s, Taylor in his 30s, Biggins 27, Lavery in his 30s, Close is edging on that prime basis. So only a few there. So you need to be looking at a few more experienced players just to add that kind of strength and depth to experience. Add your development players, but have your mix of experience in there as well. Now, I wanted to use this video to particularly highlight 2 experienced players that I've sort of scouted and researched for the transfer video in July. So these 2 players specifically are players that I would be looking at for experience, in my personal opinion. In terms of the experienced players in the window, or development players, it doesn't matter if experience or development, but I think in terms of the type of players we need to be looking for in the window in the summer, goalkeeper, some ball-playing centre-backs, full-backs on either side, ball-winning midfielder, a creative playmaker, a number 10 that can sort of drop into that midfield pivot, and some mobile strikers, kind of like all-rounders that have got the hold-up play, that can operate as a proper League 2 striker. They've got the hold-up play, they've got the strength on the ball, off the ball, and more importantly, can find the back of the net. I wanted to highlight 2 players that I've scouted for July, and the video in July, and these are 2 players that I believe we should be looking at. So first of all, from the Newport game yesterday, we had, Newport game on Saturday, we had Cameron Norman. Now, he's Newport County's number 2 at right back. Now, the good thing about Cameron Norman, and I've listed some of his qualities here, he's very much involved in the chances, the goals and assists. Decent attack-minded and defensive fullback, can do both attack and defence. He's versatile. He can play further forward as a wide midfielder if need be on the right-hand side for his versatility. He's got League One and League Two experience. He's been one of League Two's best right-backs this season. I would seriously look at Cameron as an option because I think he provides a voice in the dressing room. I think that with him being out of contract in the summer as well, I mean, Newport fans, comment down below, do you think he's going to stay or not? But I would definitely be looking at someone like Cameron Norman or trying to at least battle with Newport to gain his signature, because he's someone with some experience and a bit of balls about him. You know, he's got some real balls about him. If you saw him in the game against Donny on Saturday, you could see what he can bring. And, you know, Coughlin's got a real tune out of that Newport squad, and I think that someone like him would definitely be a great addition to the squad. Someone who's coming in with a bit of momentum, someone who's come in with a tune to him, like the rest of the Newport squad under Graham Coughlin. And if you bring in someone with that momentum going into next season and that tune out of him, and you bring him into a squad that needs a tune out of them, that needs a kick up the backside, you've got someone there. Now, another player that you can bring in to get a tune out of that squad next season, or help get a tune out of those younger players next season, is someone who's won promotion from this level before with Cheltenham, and who's currently at Cheltenham now, but he's out of contract in the summer. And according to Gloucestershire Live, we are monitoring his situation, and that is the 29-year-old right-sided centre-back, Charlie Raglan. Now, this guy, in my opinion, has to be one of the pivotal defensive acquisitions in this window. We have to go and look for Charlie Raglan. He puts his all on the line every single game. He can play in the back three or a back four. He's a real determined defender, lays it all on the line week in, week out, and we need players like that. We need players with a bit of balls about him and a bit of Terry Butcherness about him. I think we saw glimpses of that last season when we were younger, especially in that game against MK Dons with the big Butcher headband round. You know, you might as well be Pat Butcher wearing the earrings. No, it's a massive Terry Butcher headband. You know, for me, Raglan is a real option. He's a real experienced option. And again, a voice in that dressing room, a voice for those younger players. And we have to get the right balance here of long-term players and experienced players to get us out of this division and really lead the team forward. And for me, you know, yes, we can say when the injuries come back, etc., we'll have enough experienced players. But in my personal opinion, I still don't think that's enough. Because if you think about it, our form dropped before we started dropping bodies and injuries. Before we got loads and loads of injuries, the form started dropping before then. So, end of the day, we need more experienced players. Yes, we need your development players. Yes, we need your long-term players. But we also need those experienced players, in my opinion, to help lead this club back to League One, because that's the only thing that's stopping us. And we spoke to Matt Farley on that Twitter space, this is from the Stevenage podcast, and he said you need promotion winners. Charlie Raglan fits that damn bill, like a Wild West wanted poster. He fits the bill. He's wanted. You know, Charlie Raglan's wanted. So for me, Charlie Raglan is someone we should be absolutely looking for and keep monitoring that situation. Obviously, the Real AFL posted about the exclusive of us being one of the clubs monitoring the situation on Jordan Wright from Lincoln City. Obviously, that could be anything. It could be a club-led thing, could be an agent-led thing, we don't know. But he's obviously signed a new contract with Lincoln City anyway, so that's done and dusted. He was someone that I would have liked as a goalkeeper personally, but there is other options out there, and of course I will go on more about that in the video in July. But I just wanted to do this little video today just to sort of stress what we need in the window in the summer. Now we know who the head coach is going to be. Now we know exactly. We know most of the players that's staying. We don't know all of them yet, but we know some of them at least. We know who the manager's going to be next season. It is going to be Danny Schofield. It don't matter if fans want him out or not. You can keep chanting Schofield out if you want to, if that's your opinion. But in my personal opinion, I don't really think it's going to matter because Schofield's going to be here next season anyway. So I think my stance is staying the same from the last few weeks. Schofield needs the summer and then judge him in October, which is the time where I think we're most likely to get rid of him if it still doesn't work. So realistically, we're going to get rid of him in October if it goes badly again next season. So Schofield's going to be here till at least October, and we'll see what goes from there. But thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. Make sure you do like, comment, subscribe. I'm the CHALL. Ta-ra for now.